This is Armed American Radio's Daily Defense.
Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, because they don't want me to, that's why I do it.
Presented by the National Rifle Association. From the CZ Studios.
They're never going to stop us here.
Here is your host, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting the enemies of freedom, Mark Walters.
Oh, let's rock and roll on a Tuesday, shall we? It's a day before Garbage Day. Welcome to the ranch, the Patriot Mobile Ranch, to be exact. Mark Walters filling your prescription for freedom today and every day, Monday through Friday, now in the CZ Studios. Yeah, it's all being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Let's not forget that. I'm not going to let you forget that. I'm going to remind you throughout the show because I need you to join the National Rifle Association. That for good reason. We'll talk about that later. And, well, the Patriot Mobile mic is fired up. Greg in Dallas, Texas. We are live on Facebook.com/ArmedAmericanRadio, and I'll let you do your spiel, and we'll get started with Lee The Gunwriter Williams. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. That works for me. Other places to watch the show are going to be YouTube and Rumble. Just do a search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters over there. At X, we're at AAR Mark. You can head over to ArmedAmericanRadio.org or .com. I will. When you get to that website, just hit that menu icon and then select that watch live or listen live option. And lastly, if you want to join our live chats, just download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
So did you run Charlie Kirk today? You do that every day, don't you?
Yeah, I do every day.
Okay, so you got a little twisted. This is not Charlie Kirk's show. This is our show. Charlie who?
Yeah, Charlie who?
Charlie Kirk. We like Charlie Kirk. We like Charlie Kirk. All right, Lee the Gunwriter Williams. Welcome in, brother. How you doing today, man?
Thank you, man. It's great to be here. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing wunderbar. So this is Armed American Radio, not the Charlie Kirk show today. But you
Did
already
I say
knew
Charlie
that.
Kirk show?
No, I'm just messing with your head.
Okay, I was going to say, because I didn't say the Charlie Kirk show.
No, I'm messing with your head. You got stumbled up there on Armed American Radio, and I thought, he forgot what show he's running today. Maybe he's confusing me with Charlie Kirk.
I'm in vacation mode. Go on with your fabulous show.
That's right. Tell me about vacation. You're off when this week? You're off the remainder of the week?
Yeah, the rest of the week.
Okay.
I'll be back Sunday.
All right, good deal. Well, that's okay. You can do that.
All right.
You can do that. Lee the Gunwriter, let's start over. Welcome in, brother. How are you?
Still great to be here, brother.
Well, you're still here. That's a good thing. So, Lee, I've got a really disturbing story I want to talk with you about today. And I want to, before I get to that, Parkland shooting victim, Joaquin Oliver, his dad, Manuel Oliver, is, this guy, we'll talk about him in a minute, but it is a disturbing story, and I can't wait to get your thoughts on it. I hope you haven't seen it, because I'd really like to get this from you on the fly in real time. But let's start with you. Are you praising the ATF now? I'm looking over at our website, Armed American News. ATF almost gets one right. Will it continue? Should it continue? What? Coming from you?
No.
Okay, well, there's
a press release. They put out a press release just the other day. 6 guys who are living in DeLand, Florida, have been sentenced for illegally straw purchasing and trafficking 33 semi-automatic firearms that they sold to this Mexican drug cartel, the Cartel de Jalisco Nuevo Generation, known as CJING, which is located in the province of Michoacan, Mexico. And they all have Hispanic names. And, I'm reading and I'm thinking, okay, this is interesting. Maybe the ATF did a good job. According to the U.S. Attorney for the Central District of Florida, the ATF began investigating these 6 dudes in May of 2023. They learned that they're being led by this guy named Angel Velasquez Delgado. They were purchasing high-caliber firearms and then trafficking them to this cartel. They had 11 Barretts, 11 50-caliber Barrett rifles, 16 semi-auto FM 249s, which are one of my favorite guns. According to the press release, one of the Barretts was recovered. I'm thinking, okay, this is good. They had the head of the office up in Tampa said what a good job they did. The U.S. Attorney said what a good job they did on this press release. So, I'm going to take a look at the complaint here. And that's when it actually changed.
Oh, good heavens. Clue us in.
Yeah, according to the actual complaint, a Florida gun dealer became suspicious when one of these guys wanted to buy his fourth Barrett rifle. Now they're around 10 grand a piece. I'm sure, most young 23-year-old Hispanic guys or guys of any color can come in and afford a fourth Barrett gun. So he contacted the ATF directly. They did all the paperwork. They ran these guys down. They got them. But, the takeaways are not good for the ATF. A Florida gun dealer is responsible for stopping these guys, for heavily arming this Mexican drug cartel. They netted in their arrest 11 Barrett, 16 semi-auto M249s, and other military-style guns. ATF's involvement in this case began only after they did what? They answered the phone.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it in those terms, and you're right. As I'm listening to you, and of course I read the piece, I didn't really latch on to that as I'm listening to you. I had seen the piece, but yeah, the more I think about this, where the hell were they? Why didn't they know? Was there any intelligence? Why didn't they have any intelligence? Or maybe this is how they get their intelligence, and maybe we're being too hard on them. Maybe this is what they depend on. Maybe they don't know. How else would they know? Let's kind of dig into that a little bit. I want to try to be fair to the ATF, even though I can't stand them.
Yeah, and me too. I want to be fair to them, but then I go back to the fact that these ATF crews, everybody is saying that everybody who said their door kicked in by the ATF said that they laugh and joke with each other as they're tearing their homes apart of these law-abiding folks. And all we have to do is ask Mark Manley, Pastor Fincher, Kate Adamiak, or Mayor Malinowski what they did there, because of course Mayor can't. Her husband can't talk because they shot and killed him last March. So
we could go all the way back to Waco. We could go back to Ruby Ridge. There's a lot of things we could do, and there's a lot out there about the ATF we don't know about. So there's my split second of trying to be fair to the ATF, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit tongue-in-cheek here, because when it comes to these guys, when you juxtapose what we're talking about with it on the surface, it appears, hey, great job. Got some real bad guys off the streets, right? Uh-huh. Yeah. No. They didn't do anything. So that begs this question. How did they find out about a law-abiding gun owner? How did they find out that why did a gun store complain? How did they get this information about law-abiding people? How about Tate? Okay, why hassling?
They go over.
Go ahead.
They use bad informants. Tate was the result of a bad informant. Brian Malinowski, who knows? He was contacted by a couple of undercover ATF agents at some gun show somewhere where he's selling coins and guns. Mark Chaplain Manley still has no idea why they selected him. And Pastor Fincher, remember, he sold somebody a box of shells.
Yeah, and he was the one that was proned out in front of his 13-year-old kid on his property.
Yeah, worried about being shot.
All right, so let's go back to the gun show. Let's go back to the gun show here, because I'm going to guess that ATF is roaming the gun show undercover.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And they look for guys that don't have an FFL, and then they target them.
So a guy who's legitimately selling guns, curios, relics, etc., without an FFL, which is legal to do, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. If you've ever been to a gun show, you know. They're there. The vast majority of these people are selling relics. That's all. And
or they're making money on something they no longer want.
See, here's my deal. I can't tell you how many times I've been to a gun show in multiple states that I've lived in, predominantly Florida and Georgia, where I had a gun that I was interested in trading in, right? And I'd walk in. I mean, we wouldn't even get through the parking lot before somebody says, "What you got in the case there? Are you selling it?" And I'm thinking to myself in my head, well, yeah, but not to you, okay? Now, that's not really a fair thing to say, because when I sell a gun, I've only sold a gun, I think, one time to someone I didn't know. And I went through the whole deal myself. I'm like, you got a Georgia permit. I saw the Georgia permit. Everything was on there. Because I'm not going to just sell a gun to somebody I don't know. That's just me, okay? That's just me. I don't know who this person is. I'm not going to sell them a gun. I'm really here to trade it in. But not everybody does that. So that kind of begs the question as you're walking through the shop. As you get into the show, you beat 4 or 5 people off of you as you're walking in. Then when you get in, people are hitting you. Hey, what do you got? Something for sale? What's for sale? Blah, blah, blah. You got to wonder how many of those people have been undercover ATF agents.
Well, and you got to wonder why they're messing around with somebody selling a 22 or an old 16 gauge shotgun
lawfully at a gun show. By the way, let's make that clear. We're getting ready to take a break, Lee. When we
Yeah.
come back, I want to go back into that a little bit because, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to make it appear that that's illegal. It's not illegal. It's perfectly legal to do. You have a right to sell your own property, and that's going to connect us to universal background checks. We'll go there in just a second with Lee the Gunwriter Williams. We've got him for 3 more segments. Buckle in. The hour's going to fly. It always does. You're on the Armed American Radio Network. I'm Mark Walters, filling your prescription for freedom. We'll be back with Lee right after this break.
The following segment of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense is being brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Visit patriotmobile.com/AAR and use the AAR promo code to get free activation today. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, welcome back to the show. This is a Patriot Mobile phone I'm holding up. And speaking of Patriot Mobile, I had a little change of plans going on this weekend. I will be at the Gun Owners of America convention meeting with some of our great partners, and I will be interviewing, doing some taped interviews with Danielle. Remember Danielle, Greg, from Patriot Mobile? She's been on a couple times. Really good.
Yep.
Yeah, Danielle's going to be there, so we're going to interview her live there. Well, live to tape, I guess you put it that way. And we'll hit some of our other partners while we're there as well and lug a couple mics around and get some great people on tape. For Sunday show, we'll run some of those, I guess Sunday, maybe run a couple during the week. We'll see how that floats. But nonetheless, we will be there. And folks, if you want a Patriot Mobile phone too, like this one, activated, real simple. Call Patriot Mobile. Just visit patriotmobile.com/armedamericanradio. AAR is what you'll do. patriotmobile.com/AAR. Activate a phone, get a free month, and start giving your cell phone money, which unfortunately we all pay nowadays. Hopefully you don't. It'd be nice if you didn't, but you do. We all do nowadays. Can't live without these stupid things anymore. But nonetheless, give it to a company that has a booth at the Gun Owners of America convention and the National Rifle Association and the SHOT Show and donates money to all of these organizations to fight for your gun rights. It's kind of a no-brainer, right? So we'll talk to them about that. Looking forward to talking to Danielle at Patriot Mobile coming up. So we're going to forego them on Thursday because they'll be with us at the show on Saturday and Sunday. Lee the Gunwriter Williams, welcome back, brother. NRA presenting all this stuff. So, Lee, if I'm walking through a gun show and I want to sell a gun, kind of off the track here, but you reminded me of that when we were sitting here talking about your story. It's illegal for me to do that. I can sell a gun, but the left wants me to have to go somewhere and get a background check done. And if they had their way, they'd have a specific table set up where I would have to charge. So say I wanted to sell the gun to you, I'd have to charge you X amount of dollars to pay for the background check because it's not free and do all that nonsense. Rather than just, now, again, I'm a responsible gun owner. I don't sell guns to people I don't know, okay? That's just me. That's my personal opinion. I don't know how you are. And the one time I did, I knew who the person was, and I made sure I did, my own little, I just wanted to make sure he was who I thought he was, right? And that mission was accomplished with a driver's license and his concealed carry permit. But I don't even have to do that. If I don't want to, I can sell him the gun or give him the gun. But this is, if the left has their way here, you'll never be able to do that ever again, even to a family member, period, right?
Right. And unfortunately, we're starting to see some gun shows who are, there's one here in Florida, brother, that they set up a booth where they want every sale to involve a background check. And I think it's the dumbest thing that any gun show could ever do when you don't have to do that. But they just want to make sure that everybody knows they're above board. And I'm like, this is Florida. We're a free state. We shouldn't need to do that. But they do it.
And I'm going to guess they probably have a lot of people there lining up. Do they? Or am I wrong about that? Because I don't think there's a whole lot of personal sales. I really don't. Most people that are taking a gun in like me are going in to trade the thing in, right?
Yeah. It's not that big a show, but it's a show I'll never go to again. I'll tell you that right now. They don't respect the purchaser. They don't respect the people. They don't respect the buyers. They want to respect the ATF. I don't know that he want to play any role in that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple big conglomerates that bought that stuff out in Florida. I won't name names. But I walked into one of their gun shows. The guy who his father is like some rich Dubai billionaire banker or something, This guy bought a bunch of gun shops in Florida and now runs a lot of those shows. And I remember I walked into his shop one time, and for those of you that live in the Tampa, Florida area, it's right across the street from the fairgrounds. So if you know where I'm talking about, you probably do because it's a big one. I'll leave the name out. But I walked in there, and this was years ago when they were selling Glock 17s on manufacturer's suggested retail price of like $650. I'm like, are you out of your mind? I looked at that, and I went, I couldn't help myself. I'm like, what? Guy comes over and says, what are you talking about? I said, that's a price of a Glock 17? He goes, if you don't like our prices, you can get out. I said, I'm out. The guy threw me out of the shop is what happened because I was I couldn't believe what I saw. But I mean, that to me is just unscrupulous business. He did make it a point when I was walking out. He did not know at the time that I was writing for a magazine, and I had a field day with that. I just thought that was BS. There are unscrupulous people out there. So just a public service announcement. Make sure you're doing business with people that you know and people that you trust. That's simple. Because you know what the guy was doing, Lee? He was forcing you to barter for the price of a gun. And if you walk in there not knowing any better, somebody's going to pay that $650, and I promise you the guy's not going to complain about it. He's going to take the money. But I'm going back 15, 17, 18, 19, 20 years ago. Can you imagine that for a sticker price on a Glock 17 20-some years ago? I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. But I could. I'm just going to leave it at that. Anyway, good for you. Do you want to name the gun show? Feel free if you want to.
No, I'm good. Thank you, though.
I'll give you that opportunity one more time. Do you want to? It's entirely up to you, brother. Not to put you on the spot.
No, I'm good. Thanks, brother.
Are you sure about that?
Everybody in the area knows who they are anyway.
All right, let's talk quickly about the SIG P320. I'm looking at getting your opinion on this, and we might carry this into the next segment as well before I go to Manuel Oliver. In what to me is a very disturbing story. And ladies and gentlemen, this one's going to blow your mind, so you'll want to stick around to hear this. But the P320, now SIG has got, it appears SIG has more issues continuing to build here. And I don't see this slowing down anytime soon. What's your take? What do you think is going to happen here? Because this is bad for everybody. It's bad for SIG. It's bad for the industry. It's bad for the civilian market. It's bad for the military market, all the way around. And I just want to know how you think this is going to shake out as the expert that you are.
Well, gosh.
Where to start, right? I get it.
Yeah. I don't own a P320. I have invested in something else. But there are literally hundreds of thousands of them in the military. And, the one difference between being a former Army guy and being in the military right now is I get to choose what I want to carry. You know where I went. If you're an Air Force, Army, Navy, Air Marine, you're issued a handgun and you're carrying it. And regardless of whether or not you believe it's safe, that is your gun to carry. And that scares the hell out of me. They can't say, I'm not going to carry it. You're going to get yourself into trouble. I've seen so many stories on this now, and they seem growing. Of course, the left-wing media is playing the hell out of any story involving a firearm that might go off when you don't want it to. But, I thank the Air Force for putting their 230s on hold while they investigate this incident where the guy had one in the holster that somehow went off and he took it out and it killed him. I think that's the right thing to do. I'm not capable of saying whether or not that's a good pistol. I don't want one, but I've never been into SIG.
Well, I'm going to throw some things at you about this, and we'll look at it from a couple different points of view when we come back. Unfortunately, we need to talk about it. I get a lot of email about this stuff. People want to hear about this. And we'll continue the conversation, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be fair to everybody, including SIG. And as I've said before, they're welcome to come on the show, as they have before. And unchallenged, bring their opinion to the radio. We'll be back right after this with Lee.
The following segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back. And I'm asking you to join the National Rifle Association, ladies and gentlemen, every single day, multiple times, because it is a must. We talked about the latest lawsuit, and it is so refreshing. Honest to God, it's so refreshing to watch the National Rifle Association do what they're doing. Lee, I want you to jump in on this because this is content as well. Yes, we want you to join the National Rifle Association, ladies and gentlemen, but Lee, I know that you're refreshed by this when you see the NRA working literally hand in hand now. Not trying to take credit for things that other groups are doing, but actually working hand in hand with the Second Amendment Foundation, with the FPC, joining together in suits and briefs, etc. This is a welcome change, is it not?
Used to be a standalone. I mean, who knew what they were doing? They would maybe file 5 or 6 lawsuits a year. Now they're there with SAF. Now they're there with FTC. Now they're there with the other groups. It is amazing. And you know what? There's a lot of guys at NRA who are still there who know what the hell's going on. They're not the guys in the name positions. Nobody knows who they are. They work in small little offices. I'm glad they're involved because there's a lot of people who know the Second Amendment there. It's a great organization once again.
Yeah, it really truly is. It's a breath of fresh air. But ladies and gentlemen, these lawsuits cost money, as you know. And again, let me give you the pitch here. But you join for a 1-year or 3-year membership for $35 or $85. I'm gonna send you a range bag. Okay, the NRA range bag comes to you free until we run out. It's not a promotion. Give me, have to win it thing. We're gonna send it to you the moment you join. It goes into the mail with you along with the card and everything else, all the cool stuff that you're gonna get. In addition to that, if you join 5 years or a life membership, you're going to get that binoculars, the 10x42 super high quality binoculars with the lens covers and the case. Everything comes to you when you join. We're going to send it to you. When they're gone, they're gone. And then when they're gone, everybody who signed up and did that is going to be in the running for a second range bag that's going to be loaded with swag. Okay. But look, if you don't give them another dime, that's fine. But sign up, man. We need your numbers in there. It is so vital and so important. We've been doing this for 17 years on the nation's airwaves, and I have never seen the National Rifle Association working this hard as I am right now, and I know it because I'm dealing with them every single day. Folks, it's the real deal, so please help us out. Forget the old days and help us move forward. It's critical for our mission. We've got a 1.5-year window left to get whatever we can done legislatively, and we need the NRA to help us with that, both statewide and federal. But again, away from that, Lee, I don't know if you have a radio on. I was wondering if you could turn that down just a tad bit because it's kicking back in me. But Greg, maybe you can lower that. Either way, folks, please, nra.org, nra.org/AAR, nra.org/AAR. Get that range bag, get those binoculars, and join the fight with us, please. I'm telling you, the power between the SAF and the NRA working in tandem, wow, we can win these battles, and we're going to. But we need your help to do it. Just help us get back to 6+ million members. We really need your assistance there. All right, Lee. Where were we? We were talking about where were we in the previous break? Get so wrapped up during the breaks.
Talking about the SIG. And
the SIG
P320,
yeah.
Come back with my, that said, I carry a gun all the time.
Yeah.
A lot of people do. I don't want anything that has any chance of going off unless I'm pulling the trigger. I've carried a gun for decades. I'm not going to carry one.
Yeah, let me tell you.
Somebody could give you
a little bit of a different take here, okay? Social media has a way of blowing things up big time. Now, we've all seen the videos. There's a number of videos out there. But how many videos are there out there actually? 6, 8, 10? I don't know what the count is. I have no idea. But what I can tell you is it pales in comparison to how many guns are out there. So there is this little equation. The more guns that are out there, the more likely it is you're going to have more of those problems. There's going to be more accidental or negligent discharge. If there's millions of those guns out there, you're going to see that happen. It's going to be the same with any type of manufacturer because people do dumb things because we're humans and we're dumb. We do dumb things. We brain fart from time to time. We are human beings. Don't beat yourself up over being human. All right? But the odds of you having one of those guns that might have a problem might be infinitesimal. Might be. But that's the problem, is what you just said, Lee. Do I have one of those 0.001% that might have the problem? And am I going to trust that gun in a holster on my hip? And the answer to that at this point right now is no. Until I know this is done, it's not gonna ride on my hip. Go ahead.
I talked to cops when I was a policeman who had accidental discharges with a Beretta 92F, which does not go off.
Yeah, those are great
and
guns.
They all tried. Yeah, they all started the same way. Well, I didn't touch it. Well, okay, so it's double action. That trigger just somehow pulled on its own, and it's you're in a very bad situation, and the natural thing is to want to blame the firearm. But on these SIGs, I don't know. I'm not carrying one out. Very happy with my Staccato. It's a single action, but
it's a wonderful gun, an expensive gun.
Gun has not let me down.
Yeah. And I've got other guns that, have to go through break-in periods that I'm just not going to play with. You get to 150th round and the thing fails to eject or fails to feed. Forget it. It's a safe queen now. Okay?
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah.
I am not going to carry that gun. Well, I'll take it to the range, and play with it. I can clear jams there, but I don't want to have to worry about clearing jams in a life and death situation. It's pretty much that simple. And this is where SIG finds themselves at this point. I'm not... it's easy to look back in hindsight and say, well, they should have done this, they should have done that, they could have done this. That we can do that about any aspect of our lives, so I'm not going to play that game at this stage. I just don't know how this is going to shake out in the long run. And like millions of us out there, we're all paying very careful attention to this. And like I said, it's a bad situation all the way around.
SIG is not handling it well. They really aren't. They haven't put out the good word yet. They're more worried about sales and money than they are the truth. And it hurts me to say that. I love SIG.
Yeah, see, I'm not gonna go there yet. I know a lot of fine folks up at Sig Sauer. I don't know. I used this example the other day, and I'm not playing fanboy here. I've got SIGs, okay. I love my P365 Macro XL. I carry that gun with me all the time. I have no worries or no concerns about that gun whatsoever. Just like I don't any of my Glocks, which don't have external safeties, by the way, which require you to squeeze the trigger to take it down to clean the firearm. That's the safety in between your ears, ladies and gentlemen. You going to blame Glock because you made that mistake? There's things I do to stay safe in that. I was talking with my father about it today. When I'm carrying a Glock, Lee, if it's a 17-round magazine, I put 17 rounds in it, chamber it, holster it, that's it. I don't pull that magazine out and put in another round in. Why? Because at some point in time, as a human being, I can make a dumb mistake. I don't want to drop that magazine, look down and see it's full, and then squeeze the trigger, which you have to do with a Glock to take it down, and forget that I had one chamber and I topped off that magazine. That's just an extra step that I take. That's just me. I'm comfortable with 17 rounds, okay? I don't feel like I need that 18th round to defend myself. I'm good with that. There's a safety issue there. That's just me. Your mileage may vary. Do whatever you want to do to stay safe. It's that simple. But I use this analogy, the other day, and I'm talking about this, like, look, if I'm innocent and I'm charged with a crime, you're damn right I want to talk to that jury. I don't want to, if I didn't do anything, I want the jury to hear it. I want the judge to hear it. I don't want to hear an attorney go, well, I think it's best we don't put you on the stand. No, I want the stand. And that's kind of the way SIG is reacting right now. Like, hey, they're very vocal about this. The problem that they have is the videos are out there, and it seems to be mounting at this point. So I'll let you make up your mind on that, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how they're going to handle it, and I'm not going to knock anything at this point. We'll just watch and see this unfold. You just need to use your head and be very careful and be very cautious, and millions of Americans or hundreds of thousands of Americans that own the P320 are doing that right now. So there you have it. We'll watch it unfold with the rest of the industry. It's pretty much that simple. We're going to go to Manuel Oliver, Parkland father whose son was murdered, and to tell you what I believe is disturbing, and let you make up your own mind. We'll be back. One more segment with the Gunwriter.
This segment is brought to you by Attorneys on Retainer. Get the only self-defense program for gun owners backed by a real law firm, the Attorneys for Freedom. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to do that because that's a no-brainer. I have my card over here on the studio desk somewhere. Let me pull this out. If you're watching, you can see this is my Attorneys on Retainer card. About the size of a credit card. It fits in your wallet, and you need to have this, ladies and gentlemen. No-brainer, okay? Attorneys on Retainer. Carry a gun, have to use it, you're going to want a lawyer. Trust me, at some point, you're going to want a lawyer. You don't want a free one, and you don't want to mortgage your home and toss your kids out of school and go bankrupt in the process if you're charged with a crime. Attorneys on Retainer is $35 a month. You have attorney-client privilege and the backing of the only law firm in the United States, Attorneys for Freedom Group, that does nothing but self-defense law. Dozens and dozens and dozens of attorneys that will be working on your case, not to mention the paralegals and everybody else behind it. Assembling experts, $35 a month. You have any idea how much that costs to do that on a per-hour basis with a legit lawyer? Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Please, don't be stupid. You don't want, trust me, you do not want to have to smack yourself in the head and go, I cannot believe I didn't do this. This can happen to you. You could get off you can get out of your car right now if you're listening in your car and find yourself in a self-defense situation. It can happen just like that. Attorneysonretainer.us. Promo code AAR. It's attorneysonretainer.us/AAR. And get yourself an attorney. Have that attorney in your pocket, literally in your pocket, okay? Just eliminate the potential hassle. It's $35 a month, $25 for family members. You can find all of our great partners, and we're going to be with a bunch of them this weekend coming up in Knoxville, Tennessee. Patriot Mobile, as I mentioned, the National Rifle Association. We're going to be hanging out with, ammosquared.com. We'll be hanging out with Bud's Gun Shop. We'll be hanging out with everybody. Car Arms, Justin Moon will be there. Crossbreed Holster Group will be there. And some potential new ones that we're going to be talking with up there that are looking forward to joining AAR. So a lot going on. If you're going to be in Knoxville, find me at Patriot Mobile. Stop by, say hello. Find me over there. Just come up and say, hey, you'll know me. You'll see me when I'm there. So I hope to see you there this coming weekend. Lee the Gunwriter Williams, welcome back.
Thank you. Great to be here.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about Manuel Oliver and Joaquin Oliver, who was the young man who would have been 25 this year. And he was sadly murdered at Parkland. It's a terrible story all the way around. And my heart breaks for his parents. And as much as I hate to say this, and I have said this many times before over the years, when victims of this type of senseless brutality decide to go public and enter the arena of the gun control issue, sadly, they become fair game, because I am going to respond to what comes from them. They're not going to get a pass because of what happened. When they're trying to take away my freedoms and my constitutional rights through gun control, we're going to respond to that in kind. Manuel Oliver has been no friend to gun owners. They've pulled all kinds of stunts over there with their gun control nonsense, setting up fake, I think you might remember where it was just off the top of my head. They set up that whole fake deal saying to a lot of gun rights supporters to get them there to speak. John Lott was one of them. In Vegas, I believe it was. They set up, come speak to 3,000 people, said it was going to be this big event. They get there and they found out they were set up. This is the kind of shenanigans these groups play. And what Manuel Oliver has done, and I think sadly, is he's created an AI version of his son. And it's just, my heart breaks because I have 2 kids. My daughter would have been that age as a lot of these victims. They would be her age today. And it's heartbreaking for me. And I can't even put myself in their shoes. And you guys hear Ryan Petty, who lost his beautiful daughter, Elena, at Parkland, who has taken the absolute opposite side and fights for your gun rights every single day. The Olivers do not. They demand change. They've created an AI deal, and Jim Acosta, Lee, was asking this AI avatar in Joaquin Oliver's voice. And Acosta actually had an interview with him and asked this AI-created version about gun control and what he would like to see happen. And this AI version said the following: "This is a very legit question. I believe in a mix of stronger gun control laws, mental health support, and community engagement. That's the AI version of Joaquin Oliver. We need to create safe spaces for conversations and connections, making everyone feel seen and heard. It's about building a culture of kindness and understanding. Lee, to me, this is I got to be a little careful here, but it's very sad that this even goes on. And putting words in the kid's mouth, he's gone. It's terrible. But this is not, this answer of can't we all just get along, this safe space, make everybody feel seen and heard. There's evil on earth, ladies and gentlemen. This glosses over that. This is not the answer. Making you feel seen and heard and giving you a safe space is not going to stop evil. It's going to attract evil. Lee, please, help me out here.
Well, as a journalist, it was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. One, Acosta now looks a hell of a lot like Rosie O'Donnell, especially in those glasses.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And, yeah. And two, watching it was just sick. I mean, it as a journalist, it downplays and it brings into question every interview the guy's ever done. He's interviewing this. If they're looking for support, get somebody out there, get a pro-gun guy in like you, and let's have a conversation. Let's make the case why they're wrong. But this was just one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. That Rosie O'Donnell-looking dude interviewing a computer. It was sad.
Yeah, his father, and a rabid anti-gunner. And guys, the family goes after your gun rights. Look, it's a terrible, terrible thing that this family has gone through. It's awful. And as a parent myself, I just can't even imagine it. I cannot imagine it. And I've had personal, private conversations with Ryan Petty and his family and Elaine, his brothers. It's a horrible, horrible situation. This is not the answer. It was bizarre. A lot of people have called it all kinds of things, creepy, etc. It wasn't him speaking. It was a AI-created version. Is it programmed? Okay. It's got to be. How else does it happen? So, I wish these people would just let Americans grieve with them. Okay? That's what I wish. I've said that before many times. Get out of this arena. Let America grieve with you. Okay? We're parents too. We disagree politically on other issues. I get it. But taking my constitutional rights and infringing on my rights is not the answer. The answer is stopping evil, which sadly, ladies and gentlemen, it's near impossible to do, if not absolutely impossible to do. We need to be able to prepare ourselves to avoid evil or defend ourselves against it. Lee, I think you'll agree with that. You hear the music. Take us to the end of the show here. You can agree or disagree with that, and then tell us where we can find you real quick.
I agree 100%. You can find me at thegunwriter.substack.com, armedamericannews.org, or we hope you go to SAF, Second Amendment Foundation.org.
That'll do it. And Lee, I'm going to be seeing you next month. September is next month already. Good heavens. At the Gun Rights Policy Conference, September 26th, 27th, and 28th in Salt Lake. Check it out at saf.org/GRPC. Join the NRA. Check out all of our partners. I'll see you on the radio tomorrow.
You just filled your prescription for freedom with Mark Walters. Presented by the National Rifle Association. The National Rifle Association on the Armed American Radio Network.
All right, guys. Appreciate you being here today. Make sure to check out all of our great partners, please, at armedamericanradio.com, armedamericanradio.com. Join the NRA. Get yourself an attorneys on retainer card and have this defense behind you. So important to do, so easy to do, and so inexpensive to do. Don't find yourself on the flip side of this going, oh my God, that would be a nightmare for you. And because you'll know it didn't have to be that way, and that'll just make it even worse. So fix that problem. If you don't have a defense attorney right now and you carry a gun, might not have thought about this a few years ago, but it's there for you today. Not having it is a problem. So fix that problem. It's really, really simple to do. No matter what you have to do, cut back somewhere else if you have to. If you carry a gun, make sure you have this, all right? Join the NRA and all of our other great partners. You can find them all. Greg will be out on vacation this week for the rest of the week coming up, so we'll have some fun without him tomorrow and Thursday and Friday. Enjoy your day. Stay safe, guys, and I'll see you on the radio tomorrow. Thanks for being here.